Hi, my name is Chris. I'm excited to have you join me in a practice that we'll take on today that's going to help us focus on our lower back, our hips, and our thighs. There's a lot of things that we do in our daily life help us move our upper bodies or lower bodies, but oftentimes we don't do a lot of things to concentrate in the middle and the core of our body. That's where we can hold a lot of attention, a lot of emotion, and things that would be helpful for us to let go. So we'll work on that today. Let's get started in child's pose. Find your way onto all fours. Let your toes come to touch. Shift your hips back over your heels. Allow your forehead to connect down to the earth, hands to extend out in front of you. We'll find breath here. Friendly reminder that yoga feels good. Yoga serves you. So adjust here as needed. We want this to be a comfortable place for us to come, to find our breath, to begin our practice. So if it feels better to move your legs further apart, do so. If it feels better to bring your knees closer together, do that. If you want to engage through your fingertips and see if your hips can sink further over your heels, great. If your arms need to feel more slack and relaxed, that's great too. Moral of the story, find comfort in your body right now. Breathe all the way in. Seal your lips, exhale through your nose all the way out. And again. Let's take two more just like that. And when you're ready, come back to that tabletop pose where we stack our shoulders over our wrists. We stack our hips over our knees. Our spine is neutral. And then let's start to get into those hips right now. So if it feels good, you can rock from side to side, forward and back. If you have a little bit more space available to you, you might be able to draw big circles with your hips over your knees. We'll start clockwise. But again, you're listening to your body and doing the movement that feels best for you. If you're taking circles, go ahead and switch and go counterclockwise. And then we'll come back to neutral. We want to take care of our wrists. They really support us in this practice. So point your fingers off your mat, spill your weight from side to side. And then if you'd like, you can begin to spin your fingers so that your fingers point towards your knees. You may be somewhere in between your fingers to the side and your knees. You may be able to go the whole way. Just listen to your body. Small movements here. And then when you're ready, return your hands back to neutral. We're going to walk our fingertips forward a little bit. We're going to tuck our toes. You'll find yourself in a plank pose. Keep your hands and feet exactly as they are. Lift your hips up and back for our first downward facing dog. So let's begin to warm up the backs of our legs. Drop your right heel as your left knee bends towards the earth. And then switch, drop your left heel, bend your right knee. And then just let that become a rhythm, moving. Feeling that stretch. This is especially in our lower legs. You might feel this, but also helping us warm up our hips and hamstrings. And then come back to a neutral position. Inhale, come up high on your toes. We'll warm up our feet as well. Exhale your heels down towards the earth. Inhale, high up onto your toes. Exhale your heels back down towards the earth. Excuse me. One more. Let your next inhale bring your gaze up to your thumbs, and then you want to pull your belly button into your spine, engage your core to make your feet as light as possible. As you walk your feet all the way up to meet your hands, Then if it feels good, let your hands sweep up and grab onto opposite elbows. Head drops down. Find softness. Now what we're looking for here is not kind of hanging through our back, but rather a real softening and getting into our hips. So bend your knees as much as serves you. Make connection between your abdomen and your thighs, and then just let everything else drape. Once you've made that connection, if there's space available, you may be able to straighten your legs a little bit, but there's absolutely no pressure at all to do so. Shake your head, yes. Shake your head, no. Shake your head, yes. Again, breathe all the way in. Last exhale here. Inhale. At the exhale, we'll release our hands down towards the earth, and then inhale, we take that big, deep cleansing breath as we come all the way up to standing as hands extend all the way up and overhead. Root down through all four corners of your feet, engage through your legs, pull your navel into your spine, length through your side body, and then bring those shoulders down and away from your ears and find energy through your fingertips. And here we breathe again, filling all the way up and emptying all the way out. Breathe in and breathe out. One more. If you'd like to take a slight back bend on your next inhale, you may do so, and then we'll release to the forward fold. Remembering there's softness in our knees, we're bending from our hip creases. We'll find our way to the half lift. Hands track up the front of your shins as you pull your shoulder blades and come up to a flat back. Track your tailbone out behind you, track the crown of your head out in front of you, and pull those shoulder blades together. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhale. On the exhale, we release down to the forward fold, continuing to move. Inhale, hands up and overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, find that half lift. Hands meet the earth, step back to plank pose. We'll all find a modified plank by bringing our knees down to the earth. Make sure that your shoulders are over your wrists. Push all 10 toenails together, or down into the mat, knees together, thighs together. Engage through your core. Then peer over the top of your mat, shifting slightly forward. Keep your wrists and elbows tight to your ribs. Spread your feet hip width apart, press down through your toes. Inhale, your heart lifts for cobra. Reminder that if you have the flexibility to come all the way up, try not to lock your elbows. Release all the way down to the earth. Come up again as far as it feels good in your back, and let your gaze move over your right shoulder and back through center and over your left shoulder and back through center, and then gently release all the way down to your mat. We'll tuck our toes, push up to plank pose, lift our hips, downward facing dog. Breathe all the way in. Breathe all the way out. Fill all the way up and empty. We're going to begin a sequence here where we do the same move, but we intensify it each time through. So we'll start nice and easy. Step your right foot up next to your right thumb. Heart lifts, but drop that left knee. Let your left hand plant down into the earth. Your right hand comes up and overhead. Now sometimes our hip likes to pop out, so pull it into center. Breathe in length from the heel, your heel all the way through the crown of your head, and twist open. Nice, easy twist. Breathe in, twist open. Breathe in, twist open. Maybe starting to feel that in your hip and your thigh. Come back to center. Your hands are framing your right foot. Lift your left knee up off the earth. Now, gaze way out in front of you. Gaze comes up, and then we're going to take a big step. Left foot comes up to meet right, chair pose. So yeah, we're getting into our hips here, right? Finding strength and flexibility. Pull your navel into your spine, sink through your hips. Hands can be cactused. They can be biceps by ears, or if it feels better to drop your hands down by your shoulders, that's an option too. I know you want me to stop talking. Stay here, 2 more breaths. Lift through your heart, sink through your hips. You've got one more. And then release down to the forward fold. Inhale, find that half lift, shoulders engaged. Hands meet the mat. Step back to plank pose. Lower yourself all the way down to your mat. That's called chaturanga, by the way. Inhale your heart up to cobra. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Breathe all the way in. Breathe all the way out. Breathe all the way in and out. Pick up your left foot, sit it down by your left thumb. Right knee reaches down to the earth. Right hand stays planted. Excuse me. Twist open. So again, we're finding length through our heel to the crown of our head, twisting open almost as if you were a washcloth wringing yourself out. Breathe in length and twist open. Breathe in length and twist open. One more. Release that left hand down to frame your left foot. Bring your right knee up off the mat. Big gaze forward, big step. Come up, chair pose. Lift through your heart, sink through your hips. 2 more breaths. Lift through your heart, sink through your hips. If you've taken my class before, you know we smile and share. 1 more. And then as you're ready, release down to the forward fold. Inhale, find the half lift. Exhale, hands connect down to the earth. Step back to plank pose. Lower your body all the way down to your mat. Lift your heart for cobra or take up dog if you'd like. Tuck your toes. Come back. Downward facing dog. Breath in. Breath out. 1 more. Okay, that was step 1 in our journey. Let's move on to step 2. We're going to step our right foot again up by our right thumb. This time, if it felt good and you want to stay as you are, go ahead and drop that knee. But this time you were able, leave your left knee lifted. But same thing with a twist. Left hand comes down, right hand comes up. Breathe in length. Twist open. Breathe in length. Twist open. 1 more. Hands frame your front foot. Gaze way out in front of you. Bring that back foot up to meet your front. Inhale up, chair pose. Fill all the way up and sink. Fill all the way up and sink. You've got 1 more. And gently release down to the forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Hands meet the earth. Step back to plank pose. Find your way to chaturanga, lowering all the way down to the mat. Inhale your heart for up dog or cobra. Exhale your hips back. Downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Pick up your left foot, set it down by your left thumb. Option to keep that right knee lifted if you're coming with me to the next step, or bring it back down like we did the first time around. Right hand stays planted, left hand comes up. Breathe in length and twist open. Breathe in length and twist open. 2 more. And then when you're ready, let their hands frame your front foot. Gaze way up in front of you. Big step, step up, and lift through your heart. Chair pose. Breathe in and sink. Breathe in and sink. 1 more. Release down to the forward fold. Inhale, find the half lift. Hands connect with the earth. Step back to plank pose. Knees come down. Elbows tight to ribs, chest comes down. Inhale, heart lifts. Exhale, hips come back. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. With the last stop on our journey, step with your right foot, top of the mat. So this time we're going to keep our left knee lifted and We're going to lift our heart and come up to standing. Now, option to keep that knee lowered or option to keep your hands down to the mat. You decide. Lower your arms to a T. Twist your chest open to the side of your space. Bring your hands to heart center and hook your elbow outside that bent knee. Breathe in and twist open. Breathe in and twist open. Breathe in and twist open. Come back to center. Extend your hands out in front of you. Now, here's a big challenge because our hands aren't supporting us potentially. Step forward. Chair pose. Breathe in and sink. Breathe in and sink. Breathe in and sink. Release down to the forward fold. Half lift. Hands connect to the earth. Step back to plank. Knees come down. Lower all the way. Inhale your heart up to cobra or up dog. Exhale back. Downward facing dog. Fill all the way up. Fill empty all the way out. Fill all the way up. Empty all the way out. Pick up your left foot. Step it forward to the front of your mat. Option to drop that knee again. Option to keep your hands to the earth. Or option to come with me all the way up to standing. Arms come out to a T. Twist open to the left side of your space. Hands come to heart center. Hook that elbow on the outside of your left knee. Breathe in length and twist open. Breathe in length and twist open. 2 more. All right, come back to center. Extend your hands out in front of you. This is the big step. Here you go. Step up, chair pose. Strength and flexibility. Releasing through those hips. Heart lifts, hips sink. 2 more. And when you're complete, release down to the forward fold. Take a moment here. Breathe all the way in. Breathe all the way out. Fill all the way up. And empty. Step back to plank pose. Option to take a flow. That means the lower down, the up dog, down dog, or shift your hips back to down dog. You decide. Once we've made our way to down dog, fill all the way up and empty all the way out. We're going to work on opening up a little bit through our hips. So bring your toes to touch the back of your mat. Lift your right leg up. Make sure your toes are pointing down initially. Hips are squared to the earth. Then begin to open your toes open to the right side. Lift it as high as is comfortable for you. And then bend your right knee. And allow your right heel to come down towards your left glute. Feel as if you're stacking your right hip on top of your left, and then notice that your left shoulder starts to drop. See if you can keep it square to the earth. Breathe in. Breathe out. This is called three-legged dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Gently, carefully, slowly straighten that leg. Let that right leg come back down next to your left foot. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. Lift your left leg this time. Initially, toes are down, hips are squared, shoulders are squared. Then begin to turn your toes to the left side of your space. Feel that left hip stacking over right. Bend your knee. Left heel comes towards right glute. Shoulders tend to go a little cattywampus. See if you can pull them back into square with your mat. 2 more breaths. Gently release all the way to downward facing dog. Here we breathe, fill up and empty. Fill up and empty. Big inhale as you gaze to your thumbs. Exhale, take a big step, tiny steps, or a hop to find your way to the top of your mat in a forward fold. Inhale to the half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Allow hands to meet heart center. We'll take some balancing moves here that will also get into our hips and into our thighs, hamstrings, and quads. Roll your shoulders up, down, and back to find connection. Pull your navel into your spine. Root through all four corners down into your feet. Breathe in. Breathe out. Pop your right heel. I'm going to switch so it makes sense to you on camera. Pop your heel. Then allow your toes to come up off the earth. If that's a good balance, I want you to stop there. If you're able to, though, I'd love for you to bring your knee to hip height. We're going to start here by taking our left hand on the outside of our right knee. Extend your right hand out behind you. Breathe in length and twist open to the right. Fill up and empty. Fill up and empty. Taking your time, slowly, carefully come back to center. If you need to tap down, go ahead and do so. But then we're going to take that right knee and open it out to the right. Gaze over your left fingertips as your arm extends out beside you. Breathe in and out and in and out. And with as much control as is available to you, release down. Shake it off. We release that for good or for bad. We celebrate it for however it went, because whatever we did, in some way, shape, or form, we served our body. Reconnect, root down, shoulders up, down, and back. We'll do the same thing on the left. So pop that left heel. Lift that left foot up as high as is comfortable for you. If you can come to hip height, take your right hand on the outside of your left knee and twist open. Breathe in and twist. Breathe in and twist. One more. Gently release back to center. Now remember, you always have that option to tap down in between, or we'll open that left hip out to the side, gaze over your right fingertips. Two more breaths. Gently release to center. Bring your foot down and shake it out and find celebration for whatever just occurred in your body, because you served yourself, mind, body, and spirit. We're going to move into a modified eagle pose. So take your right arm under your left and place your hands on your shoulders. You'll want your elbows at about shoulder height. Now soften down through your knees, but stay upright. We have a tendency to cant forward, and I'd like for you to keep your shoulders over your hips, but soften through your knees. Pick up your right foot, lift it as high into your chest as is accessible to you, and cross your right knee over your left knee. If your right foot can wrap around your left calf, great. If not, option to take a kickstand like this, or option to just have it hanging out on the side. Keep your core engaged, your shoulders over your hips, and sink. We'll have two more breaths here. Last one. Gently come back up to standing. Draw that right knee up off the left knee. Let it come down. Shake your hands out. Breathe in. Breathe out. We'll do the opposite side. So this time, left arm comes under. Grab onto your shoulders if that feels good. Stay upright with shoulders over hips. Soften. Bring your left knee up into your chest. Cross it over your right. Kickstand, leg by your side, or maybe wrap your foot around your calf. We have a tendency to go cattywampus. See how I'm twisting there? So see if you can pull everything back into center. Breathe in and sink. Oops, I'm a little off there. Breathe in and sink. One more. And gently release. Last standing balancing pose, the iconic tree. Pop your right knee. Really open it up out to the side. So sometimes we get so excited about getting our foot really high on our leg that we lose form. So today let's focus on form, which is opening through our hips. So pull your navel into your spine. Feel that stretch through your hip as your leg extends out to the side. Kickstand, ankle, calf. Remember, no knee ever. Skip that knee, maybe inner thigh. Option to grow your branches. Option to take hands to heart center. Option to take a bind behind you. If you're feeling real spicy, place your right hand on your right knee. Left hand comes up and over, and take leaning tree. Two more breaths. When you're a complete release, shake it off and reset. We'll pop that left knee. We'll be mindful about form and really work on opening through that hip. We'll place our foot on our leg wherever it serves us best. Kickstand, ankle, calf, maybe inner thigh. They're all tree. Branches can grow. Hands to prayer. Take a bind. Or if you liked that leaning tree, if you took that last time, take that option on as well. Find 2 more breaths. Gently release. Bring your foot down. Inhale, hands up and overhead. Exhale, hands down to heart center. Your eyes can shut down or your fingertips, your gaze can move to your fingertips. And here we pause and send gratitude to ourselves for showing up, for making the choice to come to our mat. And even though this is all on the internet, by sharing our presence with others that might be taking part in this practice as well. And when you're ready, gently blink your eyes open. Inhale, hands up and overhead. We'll release down to the forward fold. Inhale, find the half lift. Hands connect with the earth, step back to plank pose. Knees come down, chest comes down. Okay, friends, I had some technical difficulties with audio here, so I'm just going to do a voiceover during this part where we're down on the mat. You've lowered all the way down to the mat. Your right cheek is resting against the earth. Your arms are at goalpost, so think about your elbows extending out at about shoulder height and your forearms and your palms resting flat on the earth. And here we're going to breathe, filling all the way up and emptying all the way out. Now, thinking about how your arms look at that angle, we're going to mirror that in a moment here with our right knee. So take your right knee and bend it. You're leaving your leg flat on the earth, and bring your knee so that it's extended out at hip height. And then your calf and your shin will be at a 90-degree angle to your thigh. You're still gazing to the right, so your gaze is away, your right cheek is down, you're gazing away from your right knee that's bent to the left. Gets into our shoulders, gets into our neck, and gets into our hips and hamstrings. And we find breath here. And then slowly, carefully extend your right leg back out onto your mat. Let your left cheek rest, gazing over to the right. And again, we'll take a few moments here to breathe, filling all the way up and emptying all the way out. And again, fullest breath in and empty to let it go. It's a little bit easier this time. You know where you're going. Bend your left knee, bringing your left knee even with your hip height, and your left shin and calf are at a 90-degree angle to your thigh. And again, right cheek is resting, looking to the right, or left cheek is resting, looking to the right, away from your bent left knee. Keep on breathing. And then slowly, carefully extend that left leg back out onto the mat. Elbows underneath your shoulders, lift through your heart, hands are out in front of you, seal pose. Make your gaze long and in front of you so that the back of your neck is long. Soften through your glutes, feel the stretch through your back. If you'd like to add a little more hips here, you can turn your toes out to the side, kind of like as if you were a penguin, and let your inner feet fall down to the earth. That's not always accessible to everybody, though, so just try that on for size and see if that works in your body. One more breath. Gently push back to child's pose. Toes touch. Knees can go wide or come together. And then just check and see how things feel. Do you have more space for your hips to sink over your heels than you did when we began this practice? Do you have a space to let go of any tension that you're holding in your thighs or hips? And just find breath and ease here. And then as you're ready, slowly draw your hands closer to your knees to support yourself as you lift yourself up off your mat. Come off to one side or the other. Bring your legs around. We're going to just take one short bridge pose today. Draw your heels close to your hips. Grab onto the back of your thighs as you gently let the entirety of your spine release down to the earth. Pull your heels as close to your glutes as is available to you. And then using your heels more than your toes, push down into the earth and lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Now we want to lift rather than push, and so I use that word lift intentionally. If your glutes are tight, you're pushing. If you're lifting, the fronts of your legs are pulling you up, and we're getting into those quadriceps, strengthening them, which helps support our knee joints, which in turn helps us walk more stably, which helps support our hips. It's all connected. 2 more breaths here. Every inhale, see if you can lift those hips just a tiny bit more. And then when you're complete, take your time, one vertebra at a time. Release your spine down to the earth. Let the soles of your feet come to the center to touch, and your knees fall open. This is called Supta Baddha Konasana, otherwise known as Reclined Butterfly. Allow your right hand to find your heart, your left hand to find your abdomen, and find breath. Fill all the way up and empty all the way out, all the way up, and all the way out. 2 more breaths. Gently draw your knees into center. Your feet will plant on the mat, but then lift your feet up off the mat and let your knees just come into your chest. If you want to grab on, you can. We're going to take tiny circles with our knees clockwise, helping to move again through those hips. And then switch and go clockwise. Or excuse me, counterclockwise, I mean. And then draw your knees into center, and just because it feels good, rock from side to side, massaging your spine. We'll grab onto the back of our thighs and give ourselves a pretty good rock and roll, maybe a few times, and we'll find our way up to seated in boat pose. So in boat pose, we're lifting our legs up off the earth. We can grab onto our thighs, but we want our spine long. We don't want sagging. It's easy to sag here, but we want to lift through our heart. We're going to stay grabbing onto the back of our thighs, or if it's accessible to you, you can grab your ankles, or you can take peace fingers and grab onto your big toes. And we're going to work on straightening those legs as much as feels good to you. That starts to get into our hips, as well as helping us strengthen through our core. We're breathing in length through our spine and holding. Got 2 more breaths here. And then using care, return your knees to a bent position, maybe grab back onto the back of those thighs if that assists you. And then we're going to take our right leg and let it come down parallel with the front edge of our mat, leaving our left leg raised. And again, option to grab a thigh, an ankle, or foot. We'll find that straightening as much as possible. There's no gold star for straightening your leg. It's just where you're feeling it in your hip. Breathe in length through your spine. Make sure you're sitting up straight. That's what helps us get into that hip. And then if this feels like a good stretch, stay as you are. But if you're feeling spicy, take your right hand and place it on the outside of your foot, and then release your left hand out behind you. Gaze either to the side or to your thumb behind you. And you'll also probably start to feel that on the outside of this leg here. Find 2 more breaths. And then gently come back to center if you twisted. Bend that left leg, and then see if you can bring your right leg back up to join it. Lift through your heart. And then we'll place our left leg parallel with the front of our mat and grab on wherever it works. You might notice on different sides you're grabbing at different points because we're flexible in different ways in different parts of our body. Length through your back, sit up straight. If you're feeling this, hang tight, stay exactly as you are. If you'd like to get spicy, take your left hand on the outside of your foot. Extend your right hand out behind you. Breathe in length and twist open. Two more breaths. Gently release back to center. Bend that knee. One more time, we'll take boat. If it's available to you, come halfway down and join me in canoe. We'll come back up to boat and then slowly lower all the way down to your mat. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. One more. And then bend your knees, use the strength in your arms, and gently push up to a seated position. We're going to take a modified figure 4 to stretch through our hips. So start with your feet fairly far away from you, okay? And we're keeping that length through our spine. Let your hands come behind you to support. Then pick up your right foot and cross your right ankle over your left knee. Now, if you're keeping your knee like really close to your body, the goal here is to really allow it to fall open, and I want you to flex actively through that foot. If that feels like a good stretch, stay as you are. If you'd like more, options are to begin to move your left foot closer to your body and lift through your chest and sit up straight, or some combination thereof. Keep that foot flexed, keep that knee tracking away. You'll feel that right through here, right? We'll find 2 more breaths here. Okay, honoring your body with slowly and cautiously uncross that right knee from your left leg. Pick up the left foot, cross that left ankle over your right knee, and again, flex actively through that foot. Draw your knee away from you as much as is possible, and then adjust. If you have space to bring your knee closer to you and to lift your heart more, do it. If not, just feel it. We'll find just a few more breaths here. And then when you're complete, gently uncross that left leg. Keep your knees bent, gently windshield wiper them from side to side. And then we'll come into a butterfly pose. So bring your feet sole to sole, let your knees fall open. Now our goal here at first is to bring our heels as close to our body as suits us. We don't want to overdo it, but we want to find that pleasant stretch. We want to allow our knees to fall open. If it feels good to kind of walk your sitting bones out from behind you a little bit, feel free to do that. Breathe in length, and then only if it's accessible to you, begin to soften forward. Otherwise, just stay as you are. You can gently place your elbows on your knees to see if that helps you open further, but only if it feels good. No pain, no discomfort. Remember, I want us to be friends tomorrow when you get out of bed. Breathe in length through your spine. Stay as you are. If there's space, soften a little bit more. Last breath. Inhale back up to seated. Now, here's the fun part. Move your heels far away from your body. Find space, and then we're just going to soften. Let your forehead come down towards your heels. Let your forearms rest wherever they want to rest. No worry about length through your spine, just softening and opening. Next inhale brings you back up to seated. Extend your legs out in front of you. Find length. Inhale, hands up and overhead. Seated forward fold. One last time. This one's for hamstrings. Breathe in length and soften. Breathe in length, stay as you are, soften. 2 more. Next inhale brings you back up to seated. Extend your hands out in front of you. C-shaped spine brings you down onto your back. Draw your knees into your chest and then extend your legs up towards the ceiling. Now we've done a lot of thigh work here, and so that may mean your legs are tired and you may find that they're vibrating or struggling here. Don't hesitate to grab onto your thighs or behind your knees to help support you. We take this inversion to reintegrate, to down-regulate, to absorb all the work that we've just done and assist us in preparing for our final, most important pose, Shavasana, which is coming very shortly, I promise. Find 2 more breaths here. Bend your knees. Let them fall to the outside of your ribs. Keep your head, the back of your head connected with the earth. Grab on again behind your thighs, your ankles, or the insides of your feet. Lengthen your spine all the way down into the earth, including your tailbone. And then if it feels good, you can rock from side to side. Some people like to straighten one leg and then switch and straighten the other. And again, if you're feeling spicy, you can straighten both. And then one last time, we're going to draw our knees into the center of our chest. Grab onto the fronts of your shins. Curl up into the tiniest possible ball that you can. Fill all the way up. And exhale, release down to our final and most important pose, Shavasana. Your feet fall open like a book. Your palms are wide and face up by your side. If it feels good, you can slightly nestle your shoulder blades underneath your heart space. Open and close your jaw. Pressure comes off of your back teeth. Eyes are shut down. And we're just going to be. Find stillness and find breath. Begin to wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, inviting small movement back into your body. Extend your hands out behind you into a full body stretch. If it feels good, rotate your wrists and ankles. They worked so hard for you today. And then gently draw your knees into your chest and roll onto your right side. Let your bicep cradle your head. And we find the fetal position. Here we pause and send gratitude to whatever it is that brought you here to your mat, to this practice. And then keeping your eyes shut down and honoring the stillness that you've cultivated in your body, just find slow movement and strength in your arms to assist you in coming up to a seated position. Big inhale as hands travel up and overhead. Big exhale as hands meet at heart center. We pause here. We thank our most important teacher, the teacher within. And then again, with your eyes shut down, keeping your hands in prayer position, lift your thumbs up to your forehead. The word namaste means that the light, the love, and the joy in me recognizes, honors, and celebrates the light, the love, and the joy in each and every one of you. Until we meet again, we bow and say, Namaste. And then because we did good work for ourselves, we clap and celebrate. My hope is that you can return to this practice often, because when we work on our hips, when we work on our hamstrings, our back feels better, our legs feel better, our mind and our spirit feels better. So I hope this practice served you and can continue to serve you on your yogi journey. Have the best day. I'll see you soon.